So this is the second part of my DA. The first part is a 15-minute video where I basically discussed loot boxes, specifically in the game League of Legends, and that was just talking about, how the actual mechanics about that specific loot box worked, the rewards you got, just so the viewers can kind of understand, the kind of rewards you get from that loot box, because it is kind of hard to understand from an outside perspective when someone talks about a reward you get from a loot box without actually seeing it. So in this video, it's going to be a lot shorter. I'm just going to briefly go over, just what a loot box kind of is, because obviously we do have a broad idea, but it's just talking about like loot boxes, the statistics on them, how much actual profit they earn, and just some real examples of the rewards and actual numbers of those statistics. So for example, you're the chance of getting a rare skin versus getting nothing at all. So I'm choosing just to look at my first and second blog post about this. So our first blog post, I kind of highlight why gamers dislike loot boxes, in which I basically say it's basically the loot box is designed so when you use it and you spend money, like the loot box is rarely worth it, but it's more kind of tapering in gambling in that kind of sense, where if you buy one more loot box you might get this, and it's kind of like it's basically feeding into someone's addictive personality, and it's essentially it's basically gambling hidden within a game, which is gamers don't really want that. If we wanted to gamble, they would go to the casino. They're playing a game, they don't want to gamble. So players invest a lot of money, and I basically talk about how many participants do actually support and use loot boxes. So it says here, participants' practices and problematic behaviour associated with emergent forms of gambling ran an international survey which held similar results, with Macy's stating participation in gambling and gambling activities were found to be 67%, with rates of problematic and potentially problematic gambling in the sample being 50.34%. So already this is a very worrying number, just because you're not like it's not as if when you are wanting to gamble you physically have to go to a casino. Whereas this is gambling in your own home, it's a lot easier to access. And another huge issue is that a large portion of gamers are in the younger demographic. And they don't need to be exposed to this kind of thing. Like in Australia, it's legal to go to a casino until you're 18. Yet there's 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, even younger, gambling. But instead of winning money, they're just winning in-game items. And it's clear companies know exactly what they're doing and the effects of loot boxes. However, there's also major source of revenue from generating $30 billion in 2018. So there is an ethical issue there. It is gaining them a lot of money, but at the same time, they're basically doing this, and it's not ethical because there's children who are, gambling and contributing to $30 billion. In the second blog post, I, made my pitch, and I just basically talked about where I'm going to go from there, and then talked about my other people's comments and stuff like that, and then link some references and topics in that, which I'm actually going to go through here. So I've gone through a few readings, and it's just basically talk about the psychological disorders in terms of loot boxes, and basically how gamers are kind of slowly becoming, it used to be like a gaming disorder used to be, oh, this person's addicted to games. Whereas now it's becoming, this person is addicted to gambling through a game. So it's two birds, one stone. It's making you addicted to a game, and it's also draining you even money. So that's a big issue. Plus, it's also, if it was a child, at least a parent can put a restriction on that. For example, I believe at Xbox, you can limit the amount of hours a child can play per week. But that doesn't really matter if a child's still spending money. So, they're limited to 6 hours a week. They're just going to spend heaps of money within that 6 hours. So it doesn't really help. And then the other thing I want to touch on is the actual statistics of loot boxes. So it was actually Riot Games, which is League of Legends, the video I touched on before. This is one of the reasons why I actually want to do League of Legends, just because I can actually physically show you what the drop rates are. So in the first video I talked about Hextech chests and Masterwork chests. So here's the actual raw statistics here. So the skin shard, you only have a 50% chance of actually getting a skin shard, which is the thing that you want. And the champion shard is 25%, which is useless to a lot of people. Emote permanent, it's nice, but it's only 10% chance. The orange essence, which is actually used to make the skins that you get from this, you only have 11% chance to actually get that. So again, it's you can, you know, while you had a 50% chance of getting this, you only have a 10% chance to actually get the resources to be able to craft it. And again, another 3.5% chance to get an extra bonus range essence. Gemstones are used to create Hextech chests, Hextech skins, which is 3.6, and then you have 10% chance to basically get another go at a loot box. Whereas Masterwork chests, you have it basically, as I said, this is where I kind of touched on how you're basically paying more money to get something better, as opposed to the previous chest where you get this for free. You know, kind of makes you not want to get this if you're able to spend money. So skin shard, it's 70%, which is 20% skin, which is a 20% increase from a Hextech chest. 10% chance to get 525 orange essence. So that's almost tripling this, which is 10%. Emote permanent, that's the same 10%. An extra 10% chance to get 150 bonus essence. And same amount for gemstone and bonus key chests. So it's basically, the article just talks about how it's slowly becoming, you know, calling loot boxes casinos, and it's now considering 2 bills that would regulate loot boxes. Like, because it is an actual real issue, it's basically becoming something that people like make YouTube videos about opening up these chests and opening up all this stuff, and it's not even about the actual game. It's just about gambling. It's like as if you put a video camera on someone like pulling a slot down on a slot machine. It's no different than that. And it also like makes a comparison to Star Wars Battlefront 2, where they included loot boxes that actually granted in-game advantages. Because I talked about how, at least at the end of the day, the stuff you get doesn't actually impact the game in a positive, negative way. It gives you no advantage. Whereas Star Wars Battlefront 2, it's gone to the point where they actually create things that give you in-game advantages, and that's not limited to Star Wars Battlefront 2. A lot of games do this. So yeah, it's and the only reason why this was disclosed is because they actually had to. Most games nowadays, well, at least coming up, are going to have to start doing this as part of a legislation that's going to get passed pretty soon. But yeah, so that's just an overview of what loot